Welcome to episode 38 of Liquid Velvet Literature. You can't tell, but I'm wearing a long half shirt. Welcome to episode 38 of Liquid Velvet Literature here on Prose Radio. And we began today with the quote by the Bangles, or lyrics by the Bangles. There's the same difference, I guess, in this context. But I woke up this morning and I was listening to Hazy Shade of Winter from the Lesson Zero soundtrack. I kind of missed Easton Ellis. A lot of my friends were reading him. And growing up in the 80s, and then when American Psycho came out, it was a big deal, and one of my friends loved that book. He's like, man, you have to read this book. And I read the book, and for what it was, I thought it was done really well, but it just wasn't my thing. I think he's incredibly talented, and I understood why the 80s were so influential to him, because they were to me too. Growing up in the 80s, you grew up in a decade like no other. You had an admixture of like cheese and greed and edge and colors that should not be allowed to be worn by human beings, but also hairstyles and Oakley blades and oh my God, never mind. I'm kind of like changing my mind as I think about it. But for my era of the metal I was into and the stuff we did outside, it was a good time. But when I saw Lesson Zero, I remember it was, this all kind of ties into writing for me. So, I saw Lesson Zero when I was a teenager, and then not too long after I was in California, and quirks of fate found me living in a studio flat with like 9 junkies divided by sheet walls. And I wrote about it before, but I didn't really write about the whole experience because you can't. Your book would be 90,000 feet long, if you wrote every detail of your life. But for one of my books, I wrote about a very small part about the junkies and the cat that lived there. And it was just, aside from the sheer horror of that place at the time, I was very young. I didn't give a shit. And, but we were watching, after that place, the head junkie had a house. And so I moved to the house and we were watching Lesson Zero on VHS. And there was that part where Downey Jr. was caught going down on a guy, right? And then what was his name? Andrew McCarthy pulls him into the car and he's driving like this and he's all shook and fucking freaked out about it. And when I first saw that as a kid, I was like, yeah, that's fucking horrible. But then this big junkie, and I'll just call him Jerry here for the purpose of this video. But Jerry watched that, and we watched the whole movie, and I think like a lot of things that Hollywood gets their hands on, gets its hands on, I guess. We were watching that video. And he was in the car and the guy was driving like this and he was all like dramatic and Jerry goes, oh God, he got caught giving a guy a blowjob. Fucking wah. Right. And I started laughing and his girlfriend at the time was there. And she was, God, you're so desensitized to life, and I thought to myself, no, he's smart, and it really kind of taught me a little bit about the overview of like there's sheltered and then there's completely out in the fucking wild. And I went from one to the other in my life personally as a kid. Sudden parental death will put you out in the real world. But the same thing happened to a lot of people that day. And but I wanted to say that I think that it's important to hold on to things like the first time I watched Lesson Zero. And the first time that I realized that, like when I saw American Psycho, the movie, years later after I read the book, Even though I didn't really like the book a whole lot, I liked the style, I respected the technique, and his way of telling a story, which was next level to me at that time, was next level. And but then I saw the movie, and I was super bummed, just fucking disgusted at like what that director did not do. And also to mispronounce Ed Gein's name and even have the serial killer reference wrong, that was a Kemper quote, not an Ed Gein quote. And it's certainly not an Ed Gein quote, you know. How many more times can you fuck up a scene? Anyway. So, where's this all going to in the right? I read some pieces today on the site from the request sheet, and I thought to myself, I'm so glad that I, reading these writers today and thinking about how much I'm so grateful that I held on to that first Hazy Shade of Winter memory with Lesson Zero and not Jerry's cynical ass fucking, what's the big deal? I'll go down on a guy for a hit, that kind of a thing. I was really happy this morning that I chose to hold on to that memory before the other one. Right? The primary memory was him eating Fruity Pebbles, watching Jamie Gertz, and even thinking, wow, I like a Bangles song, which I never thought would happen. And I like these writers, so let's jump into these writers and figure out what makes them tick if they give us any signs of that. Here we go. All right, so here we go. We are going to the Spotlight page. Let me run this down really fast. So from this all the way up are the requests. So we have Mariah, which I can't wait to read. thePearl, who I can't wait to read. Which, you guys know what I mean. 4N, who I've never read before. And then LDW, who I have read before. And of course, Area Man. And this is, I never read this one either, but it was requested. It's in words. It's MxVister. Again, here we go with my fucking screen names that I can't pronounce. And this is Our Love 327, which I'm glad to see him on the request sheet because he's one of my favorites. One of the favorites across the board. He's right up there with Area Man and all the OGs, and now OGs, and now like the new Gs. Whatever. Don't listen to me. But listen to this. I forgot to add that in the Lesson Zero soundtrack. I was super stoked because Slayer covered in Agata Davida. And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe I was hearing Tom Mariah scream, "Agata Davida, baby!" I was like, what is this? This is awesome. And then I was like, fuck Iron Butterfly. Iron Butterfly. I almost said Elron Butterfly. Iron Butterfly, or Iron Hubbard, who gives a fuck? Slayer destroyed that cover in the best ways possible. So I forgot to add that. That really made me happy. Okay. Let's start with this one. Why break precedents? This is Area Man. When the Zoloft hits and you find yourself becoming one with the universe, keep in mind an elevated sense of well-being, though uncommon, can result in a quick trip to the puzzle factory, such as the price we pay when we mistake the cause for the cure. That is really fucking good. I never tried Zoloft or any kind of medication like that. I have friends who are on shit like that, and it works for them, I guess. I was always too afraid. My whole philosophy is it's easier to not have to do something than to have to do something. And that's why I quit cigarettes a long time ago, and that's why I don't drink really, or I haven't drank in months. I didn't really quit. I just forgot about it, But this is profound to me for a couple of reasons. For one of my friends who will go nameless, but a brilliant, a genius, a guy. I expected this guy to be the next Elon Musk, and now he's like with all due respect, he's like the equivalent of an acid casualty, only to big prescription drugs. Big Farm, whatever they call it these days. He's fucking hooked. So I like this a whole bunch. Thanks, Area Man. And this one is MxVister. These are all being read cold, by the way, so I haven't. This is Insatiable Any Style Challenge, so this is called Searching. My mouth's really dry and clicky this morning. I need more liquid. It's like a narrator / VO artist's worst enemy is the mouth clicks. Ooh, but you won't hear him until you listen for him. When you listen for him and you do this for a long time, you fucking hear him, and it's like nails in a chalkboard. Okay, this is Searching. As the infection never ceases to spread, neither shall the doctor of death quit his search for a cure or a fix or an eradication of all that kept it bred. It is all for the good of life. If they can spread and they can die. Well, if they live, they can spread and they can die. It is not an obsession, it is a cure. It is a help for the bugs. Without him, who would even try? The honey fungus has such a nice name, sweet like honey but sickly to the trees it infects. They all die. But it wants to live. How else can it get what it needs for existence? This infection is not like a parasite to a tree. It is a parasite to the earth and to the life around it. Without the Rizoula, who would save the poor bugs from the fate that beheld them? No, there are no lives to save or to fix. They are all gone and all dead. But the search for a cure cannot be stopped, because without them, none could live. It is not an obsession, it is a fix that all the souls would beg for, the souls trapped behind orange, an infection, an obsession for a fix, a cure, an insatiable need to fix what cannot be changed, what has existed for centuries. What one bug, what the doctor, who now is one of death, cannot change, an insatiable search for knowledge, for a fix not one unalive soul had asked, for insatiability blocks out life, for the search only hurts worse than the affection ever had. It's really well written. I like it. MxVister. Note to self, deep dive MxVister. Thank you for that. And let's do this one. It's been like in my eye line. Our love, they call her fickle. Listen, the muse sings to the pulling of weeds, to the piling of bricks, to the scrubbing of plates. The muse sings to the earthbound, to the occupied, to souls in revolt against menial days. Silent cries beckon loudest, prayers and invocations be damned. The muse will not be summoned, and scorns intention. She cares nothing for your plans, laughs at your blank page, pisses on your offerings. She will not bless self-anointed poets who ransack corpses for metaphors. So move forward, live, be about your business, turn the grindstone, then breathe. Breathe, listen, the muse sings to those hungriest for song. Yeah, that is nice. I'm not going to go so far as to say it's nice. I'm going to go further and say that's one of the best poems I have ever read about the placement of writing and what brings it about. This is really fucking good. I'm a little bit thrown back by this one line that literally I'm trying to find it. I just love this line right here. And I love sometimes when I read a line as a narrator or as a writer writing a line, I'll get a feeling of like you're in a car going down a hill really fast, right? And this line, She will not bless self-anointed poets who ransack corpses for metaphors. You motherfucker. I wish I'd have written that. I rarely say that. I said that to about a few writers on the site, like Beulah Dazel is one, Area Man is one, Huckleberry Who is one I've said that about before. I think Mariah I've said that about. And this line, I wish I had written this, because this has everything that I love about writing. She will not bless self-anointed poets who ransack corpses for metaphors. Our love. What kind of kicked awake something in me that just might end my long, long dry spell. That was great. And this is LDW, and I'm going to like that without even reading it because it's LDW. And never been let down by this writer. Everything this writer writes to me is it's fucking gold. Okay. The day I decided to live. The day I decided to live caught me in a steel boot panic. The small of my back, a wormy spasm of mortal Morse code in hell's exiled hospital bed. I am going to live. Apathy aches through crawl-space bones, her humid bore fogging to a damp finish, while once weathered sighs float through gray morgue skies, skirting deadweight tides of tedium's labored arrest, lapping and licking my bleached heel so pathetically. I am going to live. The bald scream of atrophied helplessness staggers me on and catches the ears and eyes of God, and I refuse to drown in this landfill avalanche like a perfunctory punk. I am going to live. I jumpstart the last nucleus of infant flame that had retired to a soldered melt of sunny sizzle, soldered melt of sunny sizzle, as black psalm laments crystallize into turncoat hallelujahs and mutiny's inferno gives Bloody Mary an everlasting atom bomb kiss. I am going to live. Junkyard demon dogs drip dross through fanged bluster, and the devil's tremulous waters are glaucoma-eyed bonds and last gasp glances of stone-walled silence, scrambled mirages, distorted mirrors, and pilloried ego death. I am going to live. I devour the curse and strike up the band as my stopwatch pulse shivers through my powder keg hand, and I will unearth the mile-high soil and limp bow-legged through the blood sun boil, because you cannot gal the uncaged heart of one who knows that beyond death's saltwater kiss waits the sacred miracle of reset revolution and purpled salvation. I am going to live. Wow. I kept wanting to stop to drink because when I get thirsty, and just so anybody in the comments don't fucking come on here and say, oh, you mispronounced this. I know. I do that a lot when I read cold, but fuck it. Like soldered or soldiered soldered. I mean, this hung me up a little bit, but I don't want to talk about any of that bullshit. I want to talk about this poem. I had to pause here. I love this. And Mutiny's Inferno gives Bloody Mary an everlasting atom bomb kiss. Beautiful. That is an everlasting atom bomb kiss. And there are plenty more in this. Plenty more. I'm not sure if I even said this right. I was, This is really good. And I am almost glad that I read these cold because, there's a pretense to prepping my work for this channel where if it's a really long piece, if it's like a long piece, I'll go through it because it's you when you read a long piece, you want to get there's a feel to it. And you don't want to, there are certain words demand certain inflections, and you need that for the voice of that story. But for these poems and these prose here, these poets, I think for me, it's almost like I'm reading it in a book when I go cold. And that's why I do it. It's not laziness or lack of research. It's just I like to be natural in the moment on this site. So, and I have decided not to anymore edit my mistakes and close in the gaps if I mispronounce. I just let the chips fall where they may. And I think I'm a lot better for it. As somebody who's pretty much never been comfortable doing stuff like this, I'm finally kind of getting comfortable with you all. So thank you. This is 4N, and it's a micro poetry piece, and it's called If. And I like 4N. I just got a vibe, or I hate that one, vibe. Maybe I should edit that out. I got a feeling from 4N. Just the comments and this, I don't know, just the feeling that I like this person, whoever it is, whoever you are. It's called If. If is a strange word. 2 whole letters, as stranger, joined together as if I think. Then again, I am in it, right? Fuck it. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think then, again, I am in it, right? Fuck it. There we go. I like it when little things like this get requested. And I don't mean little things because really when it comes to creating anything like this, there are no little things. This is good. Let's see. And this is thePearl. And as a challenge, as your child, I forgive you, but as a parent, I never will. Okay, I'm not surprised this got requested on the on the Gmail because thePearl, I like reading thePearl. And my understanding is she just has a book that came out, I'm pretty sure. I need to get a hold of all this info for a future video and go into that. And this is, I redact my forgiveness. I swear I meant to follow the prompt. Alas, I wrote this content warning-ish, I guess. No need, thePearl. No need here. But thank you for that. This is, you just never know sometimes, right? But I like this writer a lot, so. You told me I was ugly, worthless, brainless, pitiless. You told me I would never amount to anything more than the sad shadow of a dream you'd predestined for me. You told me I was small, and when I outgrew you, you cut my legs from beneath me. You told me I was talentless, unworthy of investment. You told me not to reach, not to strive, not to build myself up. You even taught me that it wasn't worth the effort. Why become at all when the world only seeks to destroy? I listened. That scrawny, pathetic, witless child listened. I drank down your bitterness and convinced myself it was sweet honey. I forgave every transgression. I offered myself up onto your altar, allowed you to mold me into your dream. I didn't fight back. I didn't ask for more than the pittance you gave. I stagnated, and I reveled in every shred of praise. I stopped caring about my conscience. I ignored the inner voice that screamed to be more than a slave. Yes, the child I was forgave. And then I was suddenly awake and full of hate. I hate what you made me. I hate that I let you convince me to be nothing. My conscience is screaming now, motherfucker, and is telling me that you committed a travesty. You heinous, insidious, shriveled little prick. You stole that girl's soul. You saw her. You saw that she would have rattled the very core of the universe if given half a chance, and you were terrified. So you crushed her. Crushed me. Like the ember at the end of a cigarette butt, I became ash beneath your feet. I am no longer a child. She may have forgiven you, but I don't. Most certainly not when I went and fulfilled your dreams for me, when I pumped out children like some prized brood mare, because it was the only thing I'd ever been taught to be. I became that mother. I became that wife. I became that living maid you always wanted me to be. But your plan backfired. Because the moment I looked into my child's eyes, I felt more powerful than you'd ever allowed me to be. And I knew I would burn the world for that little girl. I would even burn you. She will never doubt for a moment her immense worth. As she grows, I feed that fire in her. Intelligence that was quelched in me looms iridescent behind her cunning eyes. She will rattle the very core of this universe, and I will be there beside her, a battle cry on my lips as she conquers every dream she ever dared to dream. And you will be dead, ash beneath our feet. Yeah. And our love, he says, I would burn the world for that little girl. I would even burn you. Good stuff, and I really like how burn sets up the ashes at the end. Yeah, that's some consecution there on the Pearl's part, but it's the Pearl. And of course, our love 327 notices it. Yeah, two heavyweights. Thank you. I was particularly fond of that line. Yeah. Me too. And this will close us out. This is Mariah, who is one of my favorites. A lot of us love this writer, and it's Perceived. Something stirring in the field, something I can't fully see. Realization slowly dawns, though it has been here all along. The peace you seek won't be with me. And this is from Modern Antigone. This poem is such a vibe, to be honest. Something kind of Midwest Gothic about it, too. I like this comment a lot. I like Modern Antigone. Modern Antigone's been featured now, I think, twice since the profile was created. If you guys hear any stomach growls or gurgles, I apologize, but this is my first cup of coffee. I was a bit down yesterday, hence the black and white bad French film video I did, but I wanted to try something different. Couldn't think of anything to say about, in the intro, and I just really wanted to, I wanted to read, and I didn't want to do anything else but read, so I did that. Note to self, no more black and white videos. I felt like I was like making a high school art film or something, even though I would never do that in high school. Okay, this is back to Mariah. This is really beautiful. I like the way she there's just something Midwest Gothic. I mean, this is interesting because when you read Mariah, there is that, I've said it before, there's a guttural, visceral beauty, but like there's this really dark edge to this writer, and I don't know. I think this is a really well done. What is it, like 6 lines? But the way this was laid out and written was just, it was tops. Tops. I'm so old. It was the bee's knees. No, this is a fucking beautiful poem. Let's give credit where it's due. It's a fucking beautiful poem. And all these writers, I mean, to go through these, this one, I just love this. We mistake the cause for the cure. That's, yeah. I have many experiences with my editor is slightly insane and crazy Italian guy, beautiful man. The brain and soul and the heart in that man is just crazy. He's a shithouse rat, but he is a genius. And he, I'm not going to get into anything about him, but he has been known to when he was taking Ambien for sleep, he would write emails to people. I never got one, unfortunately, but I guess he ended some relationships with them. And yeah. I think Area Man made a good point in this, and all these were just fun to read today. Fun. There's an old man word again. This was a great fucking day. So I'm gonna get out of here. Let me get out of this before I close out. Yeah, this was great. And that's going to wrap today. Thank you for being here, and thank you again to all the talent featured on the show today. And what else? Big, beautiful day out there. Again, gonna head out there, gonna get some more coffee in my blood. Because it's never enough until your heart stops beating. That's the second time I've referenced Shell Shock. I need to hear that song today. And anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. And I'll say it again, if you'd like to read or write, go to thepros.com, read or write, inspire, be inspired. Show us what you got, and we'd love to put it out there in front of the world and everybody. So, I'm going to get out of here. Again, hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you in the new video. And as always, take good care.